Alright fellas, now I've been scrolling on Twitter a bit of late and Darren Till keeps constantly popping up on my timeline. Every time I see his name, I'm like, whatever happened to this bloke? He was once one of the hottest names in the UFC and he's now beefing with content creators online. How on earth did we get here? So in a mission to find out what went wrong, today we're going to look at what really happened to Darren Till. Darren Till, a name that once sent ripples through the welterweight division in the UFC. He originated from Liverpool and quickly made a name for himself as one of the most promising fighters in the sport. With a background in Muay Thai and a fearless attitude, he stormed onto the UFC scene with a string of impressive victories. His ability to control the distance and pick apart opponents with pinpoint accuracy made him a force to be reckoned with. One of his most notable victories came in October of 2017 when he faced off against Cowboy Cerrone in what was supposed to be one of the toughest tests of his career. Till shocked the world by dismantling the veteran fighter with a first round TKO. This victory not only catapulted Till into the spotlight but also secured him a top contender status in the welterweight division. Following this, Till's hype train was at full speed. He was hailed as the next big thing, a future champion in the making. His striking prowess combined with his larger than life personality made him a fan favourite. But as the saying goes, what goes up must come down, and after riding his high against his victory over Cowboy, Darren Till was given the opportunity of a lifetime, a shot at the UFC welterweight title. In September 2018, Till faced off against the reigning champion Tyron Woodley in a bout that had the MMA world buzzing. The fight was billed as a passing of the torch, for many believed that Till was destined to dethrone Woodley and begin a new era in the welterweight division. However, the fight didn't go as planned. Woodley, known for his explosive power and that wrestling, controlled the fight from the start. In the second round, Woodley caught Till with a crushing right hand which sent him to the canvas. What followed was a brutal ground and pound assault before Woodley locked in a Das choke, forcing Till to tap out. This loss was a harsh reality check for Till and his fans. For the first time in his UFC career, he looked vulnerable. The defeat not only cost him the chance to become champion, but it also seemed to shake his confidence, a crucial element of his fighting style. Despite the setback, Till was determined to bounce back. Just 2 months later, the UFC announced that Till would headline a card in his hometown of Liverpool, facing Jorge Masvidal. This fight was seen as the perfect opportunity for Till to reclaim his momentum. However, the bout would mark the beginning of a downward spiral that would define the next chapter of his career. In a pretty stunning turn of events, Masvidal, who was pretty much a veteran of the sport at this point with a reputation of toughness, knocked Till out cold in the second round. The Liverpool crowd watched in stunned silence as their hometown hero laid unconscious on the mat. This loss was more than just a defeat, it was the moment where the aura of invincibility surrounding Darren Till absolutely began to fade. Till's back-to-back losses were a stark contrast to his rapid rise. The confidence that once fueled his success seemed to be slipping away, and the pressure of living up to the expectations seemed to be too much for him. In an attempt to reinvent himself after this loss and find a fresh start, Till made a bold decision to move up to the middleweight division. The move was seen as a necessary step, given Till's large frame for a welterweight, and it was hoped that the change in weight would reignite his career. His first test at 185 came against Kelvin Gastelum, a tough and durable fighter known for his heavy hands and relentless pressure. The fight was closely contested, but Till managed to secure a split decision victory. While the win provided a glimmer of hope, it was far from the dominant performance that had once defined his career. Some questioned whether Till had truly found his footing in the new division, or if it was merely a brief respite in a continuing downward trend. His next fight would provide the answer. In July 2020, Till faced off against former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker, a seasoned veteran and one of the division's top contenders. The fight was a grueling battle that went the distance, but once again Till came up short, losing by unanimous decision. Although he showed flashes of his old self, the loss highlighted the challenges he faced in the middleweight division, facing bigger, stronger and more experienced opponents. The defeat to Whittaker was a turning point. It became clear that Darren Till was no longer the unstoppable prospect who was once destined for greatness. Injuries began to plague him, further complicating his return to the octagon. He was forced to pull out of multiple fights, and the long layoffs only added to the growing sense of frustration and uncertainty surrounding his career. It was clear that the fighter who once had an air of invincibility was now grappling with his own limitations. In September 2021, Till faced a pivotal challenge against Derek Brunson, a top contender in the middleweight division known for his powerful wrestling. For Till, this fight was supposed to be a statement, a chance to reclaim his place among the division's elite, but the fight didn't go his way. Brunson dominated with his wrestling, controlling Till on the ground and eventually securing a rear naked choke in the third round, handing Till another devastating loss. The defeat to Brunson marked a significant downturn in Till's career. His once promising trajectory had been derailed by these string of losses, and that aura that had once surrounded him was long gone. The questions about his future in the UFC grew louder, and it was clear that Till was at a crossroads. In 2022, his struggles continued. He returned to the octagon in December, facing the rising contender Dricus du Plessis at UFC 282. Till entered the fight with the hopes of a comeback, but once again the outcome was not in his favour. Du Plessis overwhelmed Till with relentless pressure, eventually forcing a stoppage in the third round. The loss was Till's third consecutive defeat and his fifth in 6 fights, further solidifying the narrative of a fighter in decline. In early 2023, Till requested his release from the UFC, stating he needed time to focus on his health and personal life. He expressed a desire to step away from the sport temporarily, promising that he would return when he was ready and when he felt he could compete at the highest level once again. Till's departure from the UFC marked the end of an era. Once one of the brightest stars in the sport, he now faced an uncertain future outside of the promotion. Despite the setbacks, Till remained resolute in his belief that he could still make a comeback, but the road ahead was more uncertain than ever. So, where did he go after the UFC? Well, there was a lot of different ideas floated, yet all roads seemed to lead to a boxing debut, also known as a UFC fighter retirement plan. His debut was initially scheduled for July 2024, but due to delays, including the postponement of the main event featuring Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, Till's bout was pushed back to November. This delay has only added to Till's frustration, as he had been preparing for his boxing debut apparently for over 18 months at this point. His first opponent was slated to be Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., a seasoned boxer with a formidable record. Till expressed his desire to not only win this fight but use this fight as a stepping stone towards entering the world of influence of boxing, vowing to knock out every single one of them. Yet this Chavez fight quietly went away, with him being removed off the card and Uriah Hill taking his place. So in the meanwhile, his last appearance was on a Dubai-based boxing event called Social Knockout 3, where he was a last-minute fill-in against a bloke called Mo Muti. I'd never heard of him before, but apparently he's a Palestinian MMA fighter, on an event which included Salt Puppy and Mo Vlogs, while also being sponsored by a bald man who can't leave Romania. It was all a bit weird, and I think it's a pretty good reflection of where Till's career has landed. In this fight, his opponent refused to continue after claiming hits to the back of the head, and then his opponent decided to try have a go at Till, which resulted in a post-fight brawl between the two. Not really Darren Till's fault, but it was all, once again, just a bit embarrassing. So this is where he is now. Currently he mainly seems to be on his Twitter finger arc, but what lays ahead of him? I don't think we'll ever see him fight MMA again, and most likely I see him going further down the influencer boxing path, probably ending up on Misfits Boxing against some influencer and having a pretty sad end to his career, although at least he'll be getting a payday. Now I want to hear your thoughts on Till's career. What were your favourite highlights and where do you think it all went wrong? If you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing, it massively helps. Thanks for watching fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.